and welcome back to Nova Scotia, where last week we left off with a bit of bad news.
You might want to come see this.
It seems to be some sort of mold, I would guess.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, these boards are. It's dry wrapped.
So we are going to marinate on the next course of action while we eat lunch here, and then, yeah, I'll get back to you. And so eat lunch we did, and you better bet what was on our plates was a delicious, fresh, never frozen meal from today's sponsor, Factor. And if you have been following along on all the different house renovation videos, you'll know that I have been a genuine Factor customer for well over a year now, and that their meals have been key to keeping us fueled, happy, efficient, satisfied through all the ups and downs of the renovation. They have over 100 rotating weekly options. That's tons of flavor profiles and different cuisines to try from. So if you're somebody who doesn't like eating the same meal over and over because you'll get bored, they've got you covered. Plus, they did just add several new ready-to-eat salads and grain bowls. You can choose plans that suit your own wellness journey, like calorie smart, low carb, or high protein. I always go for the high protein myself, and I am never disappointed. They always cook their meat to perfection. So if you would like to give them a try, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code MAKESFB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code MAKESFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. So the immediate and logical course of action was to remove as much of the mold and fungus as possible in order to assess the full extent of the damage and also see if we could pinpoint precisely what caused it. So we shut all the doors to the entryway, and we used the vacuum cleaner to try to limit the amount of spores flying around everywhere, and then, armed with an old scrub brush and my brand new mask, I set to work. I know I've got some new faces around here, so I just wanted to pop in and remind you that I upload every Friday, rain or shine. So if you want to follow along with whatever new adventure we're up to, there is a video every week. YouTube has been messing around a little bit with their homepage, so you might have to actively seek it out, but you can always use the search bar, or you can click on my channel profile and look for the latest video on my channel. But regardless of how you find me, I'll be here every week waiting for you. Okay, so we've gotten as much done as we can with the limited tools we had on hand, which was basically just that green plastic scrubby brush. So now we're gonna have to take a pause to run out to the hardware store. We're gonna grab a wire brush. We're gonna grab some concentrated vinegar. Thank you for the couple of you who mentioned that you can actually get a much higher strength vinegar at the hardware store. I will be using that instead of the like home cooking style of vinegar. So getting that, and then also a spray brush to apply it, and then try to kill it, get rid of it, kill it, and then put the heater on in the front room to try to dry out all of the boards to the state that they're at least, dry enough we can put some insulation in so we don't freeze our butts off, and then we will come back and tackle this when the weather's a little bit better. Right now I'm freezing. Right now it is snowing out. It is literally snowing out. I am freezing. I do not want to be tearing this room open down to the studs. I don't want to be seeing my snowy front lawn from inside the house. Not yet. Maybe in a few months. That's the plan. I'm off to the hardware store.
That's a rainbow.
The candles are doing it.
And
What's it smell like?
beavers and hockey pucks.
Yeah, having a orgy in an igloo.
An orgy in an igloo. It smells like I just got new rubbers for inside my car. While we were there, we also saw a good deal on some hefty storage bins, but they were all out of stock on the bottom shelf, so you know what that means.
So this is the open wall bay we just uncovered, and let me show you what the thermal camera says. So this area here is clearly wet. We don't know where it's coming in, but it's probably from improper flashing in the corner of that roof section here. Trickling down behind here, and then at some point catching boards and going sideways.
Armed with a new batch of tools, we were back at it again, but this lath was proving super hard to clean. There was mold growing in all of its many tiny crevices and in between boards, and so I decided to remove it all. They're gonna have to go anyway at some point down the line, and they aren't holding up any plaster anyways, so this allowed me much better access to the wall behind it to properly clean everything. Like Phil said, the source of the water seemed to be coming from upwards, up higher than anything we could easily see. So while I worked on cleaning out the bottom half of the wall, he started opening up the remaining parts of the ceiling, trying not to drop plaster on my head, and following the water damage up as high as he could, hoping to find a point of entry. And clearly we were on the right track, because above the plaster ceiling, once it was all gone, we found a bunch of efflorescence and signs that this water problem had probably been happening for years. And that's basically how we spent the rest of the evening. We cleaned up the mess, absolutely doused the wood in vinegar, and called it a night.
here we are. This is the wall we've been working on inside. And this is where the infiltration's happening. And upon closer inspection, I understand why it's happening, because I can see inside right here. Temporary fix is gonna be put that back, fix it there, and cuck the bejesus out of it. And then when summer comes, we're gonna open all of this and re-close this section of the house better. But yeah, little surprise. Look. So all of this is going to be okay to caulk, put silicone on, but this section here, it's a really big gap. Let's try. I'm intentionally not fixing this too hard with nails and screws because we're going to have to extract it and do it proper when we do the whole wall. So very much a band-aid solution.
Now, I did say in the first video of 2026 that I wanted to work with more talented and passionate professionals, so I guess this is a perfect moment as Phil sits here contemplating the sad, sad state of the exterior woodwork to put out a call asking for experienced and passionate carpenters who would like some work and have experience with historical houses. Preferably Red Seal carpenters, preferably local to Nova Scotia if possible, but honestly I'm open to other options as well. I'd love to find somebody who's both talented and experienced, but also genuinely passionate about working on historical houses. Ideally, you're not afraid of heights, and who's open to creative problem solving while restoring 100-plus-year-old features. If that sounds like you or someone you know, please shoot me an email. You can find my address in the video descriptions. Serious and relevant inquiries only. Just tell me a bit about yourself and your experience, and I'd love to hear from you.
Terrible construction techniques. Is it gonna help? Yes. Is it ridiculous that I just emptied a full caulking gun in like half-an-inch gaps? Yes. So this is the after. I emptied the full gun of silicone in there. Tried to seal all the edges where it could come in the wall, and hopefully that's gonna stop the damage inside for the time being anyway.
Alright, day 3 of this wild saga that is the entryway fiasco. So yesterday not much happened. We basically just went in mostly on this section here and went in with more vinegar, more brushes, also then with this mold control, which needs to sit overnight, so we let that sit overnight. And also Phil came in, as you can see, and spray foamed everything. I had nothing to do with that, and I do not fully approve, but he does have a point that this is all gonna have to go anyway in a couple months when we open up the wall, so I guess his point was valid. Like, let's close it up for now, try to keep the cold air out and the moisture as much as possible, and then we'll change it all out. So yeah, this is where we're at. It's rough. But one thing I did want to mention is actually that I didn't note earlier, there used to be a window here, a giant window, because this board right here, this upright, this beam, is original, as is this board here. And that is a header. Look, it's got some vertical supports underneath. All of that is original wood. And then everything filling in where the window would have been is much newer wood. So there was probably a giant window here, which honestly kind of matches up with the other house we've seen with similar architecture. Also matches up with what used to be going on there too. There used to be a window there, although it was probably replaced with a smaller, slightly newer window at some point. So yeah, that was kind of cool to discover also. Thought I would show you the evidence of the dividing wall, which actually, if we come over here, you can see that there is some lath sticking out right there. And I'm pretty sure if we climb up, we can actually see inside this wall right here, which is the dividing wall between the two halves of the house. So that was kind of fun to see. Like, there was definitely, this entryway was divided as well. I am super curious to climb up and look inside there, now that I have seen that. Still, yeah, you can see all the plaster and lath up in there. And then coming over to this mystery. So the mystery is, what are these little boards in here? Because this big beam, which if I come closer, I don't want to touch it, but I'll get close. It's as wide as my hand. It's like maybe 4 or 5 inches wide. It runs from the sill plate all the way up to the top of the second story up there. So that's just the quarter of the house. Then here, encased in so much spray foam, are our absolutely trashed sheathing boards. So those are the boards that go on the outside of the house that the siding gets nailed onto. They're the sheathing boards, the original ones that run this way. Same as this. These are also sheathing. They're newer sheathing. They're running this way. So that's our sheathing. And then here, this slightly smaller beam, it's maybe 3 inches. That's just the framing for this section, like the entryway here. So we know what all that is. What I'm curious about is, what are these boards? Because they're roughly the same size as the sheathing. So these boards, very similar in size and thickness to these boards, but they're on the inside of the house. So I'm a little bit confused, because then you have lath. You can actually see in here, there's a lot of vertical lath, which is odd. I think it's just a space. It's like filling in some spaces. And then at some point, that's where you're going to have the lath for this blue room in here, that wall. So I'm just confused what these boards are. I don't know. But anyway, the problem is, first of all, there's a massive, massive gust of wind. I wish there was such a thing as, like, you know, smell-o-vision. If there was such a thing as, like, I don't know, touch-o-vision. You could feel the cold gust of air that is just slapping me in the face right now. So first of all, yes, there's a ton of air coming in here, but also there are so many deep, dark crevices in here that are so still to this moment filled with mold. Not loving that, so I don't know what we're going to do. Jam some insulation in there for now, and then we're going to put insulation in all of these cavities just for the next maybe couple months, because we still have a heater in here, and it is still kicking off every time that the rest of the house heating goes on. So we're going to close this up with some insulation, but no vapor barrier, no drywall, just insulation. Keep it a little bit like that wall, actually. Except that this wall is going to get torn down in a couple months. We're going to have to open it all up and do a lot of replacing. Not looking forward to that, but yeah, that's where we are. Just wanted to catch you up on this disaster of a room. And that is where we're going to leave this chapter for the moment. It's nowhere near being done. We're just putting a pin in it for now and returning to tackle the problem some more in a few months' time when the weather has improved, or at least moved out of the negative digits. Come on, let's go!